We're gonna have fun.
Yes.
It's a cozy table, isn't it?
And champagne, my dear.
Delicious.
You like it?
Delicious.
Although the rise in foodborne illnesses has been caused by many complex factors, much of the increase can be attributed to recent changes in how American food is produced. The nation's leading agribusiness firms have resolutely opposed any further regulation of their food safety practices. For years, the large meatpacking companies have managed to avoid the sort of liability routinely imposed on the manufacturers of most consumer products. Today, the U.S. government can demand the nationwide recall of defective softball bats, sneakers, stuffed animals, and foam rubber toy cows. But it cannot order a meatpacking company to remove contaminated, potentially lethal ground beef from fast food kitchens and supermarket shelves. About 75% of the cattle in the United States were routinely fed livestock wastes, the rendered remains of dead sheep and dead cattle, until August of 1997. They were also fed millions of dead cats and dead dogs every year, purchased from animal shelters. The FDA banned such practices after evidence from Great Britain suggested that they were responsible for a widespread outbreak of bovine spongiform encephalopathy, BSE, also known as mad cow disease. Nevertheless, current FDA regulations allow dead pigs and dead horses to be rendered into cattle feed, along with dead poultry. The regulations not only allow cattle to be fed dead poultry, they allow poultry to be fed dead cattle. The waste products from poultry plants, including the sawdust and old newspapers used as litter, are also being fed to cattle. A study published a few years ago in Preventive Medicine notes that in Arkansas alone, about 3 million pounds of chicken manure were fed to cattle in 1994. In order to give a processed food the proper taste, a flavorist must always consider the food's mouthfeel, the unique combination of textures and chemical interactions that affects how the flavor is perceived. Indeed, flavor is primarily the smell of gases being released by the chemicals you've just put in your mouth. The taste of a fast food fry is largely determined by the cooking oil. For decades, McDonald's cooked its French fries in a mixture of about 7% cottonseed oil and 93% beef tallow. The mix gave the fries their unique flavor and more saturated beef fat per ounce than a McDonald's hamburger. Amid a barrage of criticism over the amount of cholesterol in their fries, McDonald's switched to pure vegetable oil in 1990. The fast food companies purchase frozen fries for about 30 cents a pound, reheat them in oil, then sell them for about $6 a pound. In 1960, the typical American ate 81 pounds of fresh potatoes and about 4 pounds of frozen French fries. Today, the typical American eats about 49 pounds of fresh potatoes every year and more than 30 pounds of frozen French fries. 90% of those fries are purchased at fast food restaurants. The Chicken McNugget turned a bird that once had to be carved at a table into something that could easily be eaten behind the wheel of a car. 20 years ago, most chicken was sold whole. Today, about 90% of the chicken sold in the United States has been cut into pieces, cutlets, or nuggets. Based in Arkansas, Tyson was one of the nation's leading chicken processors, and it soon developed a new breed of chicken to facilitate the production of McNuggets. Dubbed Mr. McDonald, the new breed had unusually large breasts. A chemical analysis of McNuggets by a researcher at Harvard Medical School found that their fatty acid profile more closely resembled beef than poultry. They were cooked in beef tallow, like McDonald's fries. The burgers, chicken, French fries, and buns are all frozen when they arrive at a McDonald's. The shakes and sodas begin as syrup. At Taco Bell restaurants, the food is assembled, not prepared. The guacamole isn't made by workers in the kitchen. It's made at a factory in Michoacan, Mexico, then frozen and shipped north. The chain's taco meat arrives frozen and pre-cooked in vacuum-sealed plastic bags. The beans are dehydrated and look like brownish cornflakes. Since the end of World War II, farmers in the United States have been persuaded to adopt one new technology after another, hoping to improve their yields, reduce their costs, and outsell their neighbors. By embracing this industrial model of agriculture, one that focuses narrowly on the level of inputs and outputs, that encourages specialization in just one crop, that relies heavily on chemical fertilizers, pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, advanced harvesting, and irrigation equipment, American farmers have become the most productive farmers on Earth. Every increase in productivity, however, has driven more American farmers off the land. Knuckle dropper, navel boner, splitter top bottom butt, feed kill chain. The names of job assignments at a modern slaughterhouse convey some of the brutality inherent in the work. Meatpacking is now the most dangerous job in the United States. The injury rate in a slaughterhouse is about 3 times higher than the rate in a typical American factory. Responding to the demands of the fast food and supermarket chains, the meatpacking giants have cut costs by cutting wages.
The restaurant industry is now America's largest private employer and pays some of the lowest wages during the economic boom of the 1990s when many American workers enjoyed their first pay raises in a generation. The real value of wages in the restaurant industry continued to fall. The roughly 3.5 million food workers are by far the largest group of minimum wage earners in the United States. Americans only consistently earn a lower hourly wage are migrant workers.
Most all of the food that we order comes from one vendor.
In 1978, Americans spent about $6 billion on fast food. In 2001, they spent more than $110 billion. Americans now spend more money on fast food than we do on higher education, personal computers, computer software, or new cars. They spend more on fast food than on movies, books, magazines, newspapers, videos, and recorded music combined.
20 years ago, teenage boys drank twice as much milk as soda. Today, they drink twice as much soda as milk.
A Colorado Springs District 11 administrator warned the principals that beverage sales were falling short of projections and school revenues might be affected. Allow students to bring Coke products into their classroom. He suggested move Coke machines to places where they would be accessible to students all day. Bushy left Colorado Springs in 2000. He is now the principal of high school in Celebration, Florida, a planned community run by the Celebration Company, a subsidiary of Disney.
Coke at McDonald's sells for $1.29 and contains roughly 9 cents worth of syrup. Upgrading to a large for $1.49, as it usually suggested, will add 3 cents worth of syrup and 17 cents for fruit.
Every month, about 90% of American kids ages 3 to 9 visit a McDonald's.
But more Americans are severely harmed by food poisoning than by illegal drug use. of fast food visit impossible. The decision is made at pursuit or the moment without much thought.
Children's clubs have for years been considered an effective means of targeting